Hold on, no, we can't just go, okay. You gotta, okay,
No, we're
sure. There's that whole thing way back in the day when I was, little. Take it away.
No.
Hold for our sponsor, Jack Links. Oh, jerky. Yum.
When I was a young boy. Do you want to do your topic first?
Sure. I have a question. I'll pose it as a question.
Okay.
Have you ever been, and you don't really count. I wish I had someone else in the room. I wish I had someone else in the room to ask this that came from a normal town and a normal life.
Yeah.
But are you, close with your neighbors?
No.
Do you, know your
kind
neighbors?
of. Yeah.
Well, what's your
them.
experience with your neighbors?
The two on either side of us have been there, 1, 2, 3 have been there forever and ever and ever. And then 1, 2, 3 are always rotating. They're always changing.
Yeah.
But 1, 2...
if someone new moves in, have you ever, or not you, but, your parents, more so, gone out of their way?
But, no. Short answer is, not really. We know of them, but there's no, block parties or swapping food at holidays.
I have several things to say, because
I think a big part of that is because no one in the neighborhood has kids. We're the only children in the neighborhood. Well, actually, the people
in the neighborhood.
Well, my neighborhood is only those 6 houses.
Your block,
on, a busy
your
street. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really live in a neighborhood.
The people that just moved in over there, I say just, it was 2 years ago. They have 2 little kids, little kids. But before that, my brother and I were the only children.
So yeah, that could have to do with it. But also no, adults are sometimes expected to
the 2 on the sides. Yeah, the 2 on the sides had daughters. They had a bunch of kids, but they had daughters who were around the same age. They were 15 or they were probably 10 when I was born. And so they were always running through our yard, and there was a lot of socializing back then.
But you were...
They babysat for us once we were older. Yeah.
Okay. I ask this because the other weekend when I was home for Thanksgiving, week,
yeah.
My mom was talking about how we just had new people move in directly across the street from us.
Sure.
And before that, it had been a house that had a couple of sons that I've never seen their faces ever in my life, but I've always oh, there's some boys that live over there.
Yeah.
I hide from them when they're out in their driveway or whatever. Sure. And new people moved in there, and they have 2 kids. And my mom was all excited about it and telling me about them and stuff and saying that she met them.
Yeah.
And I met them while I was there because my mom was doing her little pop-up plant event thing and selling stuff from our driveway. I have no desire to get... Some people, that's the dream for them to be, in a little house. This is a whole separate thing.
That's a whole different
separate thing, but in a little house and, a nice little neighborhood and, block parties and, getting to know all the people around you and, my family's never been about that.
Yeah.
But before we moved here, we definitely knew our neighbors better.
Yeah.
That's because we had lived there for a long time. And there were other kids on the block, and we were in the, neighborhood. And so we knew, scattered people throughout. But when we moved here, we live on a, long, horseshoe street, and we don't know anyone.
Yeah, that's alright.
We don't know anyone. And we've lived here for, 8 years now. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my mom
Yeah.
my mom is like, oh yeah, a couple of us like on this side of the block have a group chat now, and I was like, what?
Weird.
What do you, what, why, what?
Like, I'm trying
That
to
just,
think.
that threw me off, because we've never been.
I live in a
Those
really
kinds of
weird
people.
area of our town. Like, because everyone's very centralized, and we're, like, off to the side.
Yeah.
We're, like, right at the meet of a couple different towns. And, so, like, nobody lives near me, but anyone I grew up with was, like, 30-second walk from someone else in my grade.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't
We're
really
just the
count.
odd one out.
Yeah. What else is new?
I'm, like, thinking about, like, my grandparents, too. And, like, their house was always the hub growing up.
Sure.
It's where we always went.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd always do Halloween there. We always, all the cousins
Nice.
went, and we would trick-or-treat in their
Cute.
neighborhood. And it's, like, all old people.
Aw.
And they're always so excited to see you.
Aw.
And they give you so much candy. It's great. But then there was the guy that handed out, like, baggies of, like, jerky and, like, weird things.
Oh.
But it's fine. But I couldn't say, maybe they knew their neighbors more, but I never really heard about them, except the guy that lived right next to them. His name was Gene. He lived there alone forever, and he was, like, way younger than them. And, he had in his backyard these little, I'm just, like, going down memory lane, sorry. But he had this little bush in his backyard that grew raspberries.
Ooh.
It was a raspberry bush.
Nice.
And me and my cousins would always go steal all of them.
Sure.
And Gene was chill, though. He was like, yeah, take my raspberries.
Huh.
And they were so good. Ooh. And so, like, that's one that, like, they know each other
Yeah.
really well. But for no other reason than the fact that they're neighbors.
Yeah.
Dang.
Like, one of my friends growing up she lives on, like, a dead-end street, and, like, they do block parties and stuff.
That was my old house. It was a dead end.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, like, a very long street. There wasn't many of us.
And, like, we would
never
go there.
did a block party, though. Never experienced a block party.
Yeah, neither have I. Actually, I probably experienced a block party I probably experienced her block party.
Cool.
But if you, like, went to her house, and if you're, like, sleeping over her house, like, you had the run of the street that night. And, like, all of the kids would emerge from all of the houses, and you'd play, like, Manhunt.
Yeah. Manhunt did not exist in my childhood.
Yeah?
I don't want to
Weird.
say it's an East Coast thing, East Coast versus West
I don't
Coast
know.
thing, but no one I ever knew in Washington ever knew
Maybe
of
you're
that
all
game.
just weak. Manhunt's, like...
Manhunt's aggressive, but since moving here, I have played some intense Manhunt, and no, it's fun. Wow. We played other games. Well, growing up, we had laser tag. Me and, like, the handful of kids on my block and, like, a couple blocks over, we had, like, little laser tag get-ups, where it's a little, like...
Yeah, well, in the East Coast, we gotta buckle down. We don't have any of your newfangled technology.
No, they were
vests.
the crappiest things.
We gotta punch each other in the face, and that's how you win. You have to tackle each other to the ground and make sure they can't get up again.
I guess we just weren't we weren't aggressive, though. I was friends with some aggressive people, but we also played, like, flashlight tag and stuff. That was more me and my cousins, like, camping, though. Can't think of any, like, contact games. Or we just except hide and go scare. Which is you go and hide, and then try and scare the person seeking you.
Sure.
And
that was a contact sport?
Oh, yeah. You would it would turn into you just, like, tackling
wow.
them. But yeah, that's all I don't know. It came up while I was home, and I was like...
Weird.
What is this?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do we want to do a long boy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
First.
So we introduced our quote book for our new quirk segment. We're going to be going through these quotes.
Okay, I found 3.
All right, well, let's hear it.
4, actually. Jedi are just glorified Boy Scouts.
I spoke that into existence.
You did.
And I'm very proud of it. It's a good one. It's just true.
I can't even say anything because you would put a frog in your mouth.
Yep. That was me at you.
I stand by that.
Because we were talking about something. And I was like, imagine just I can't even say anything because you put a frog in your mouth.
It was a post about... It might have been Tom Holland.
It's probably about Tom.
And then I like this one a lot. I have Orion, my character in a thing, and I have, the name's Orion, no constellation.
No constellation!
But the constel is in parentheses, so it's no relation. No constellation.
Alright, we have February 12th of this year, 2020.
Yeah.
February 12th. That's a rough day.
It is.
Not that February 12th.
No.
And I said at you, you can't make that sound after saying that he lives in the garbage.
I love that one.
It's a good one.
What are we talking about?
I have one in mind, but it could be so many others. You can't make that sound after saying he lives in the...
What sound?
I don't know. I wish you would put a sound effect in.
Oh.
And then I have this one, which is real nice and simple. And it could be about I have no idea where it came from. It could be about anything. But I enjoy this one. It's good. March 1st, 2020. Hey, I'm sensitive about my sins.
I'm sensitive about my sins.
Yup. It's the hey. Hey, I'm sensitive about my sins.
Oh, it's so funny.
Oh, those never get old. Somehow I forget about all of them every time.
Oh, I don't think there's ever a good enough reason to start a sentence with, you see, it's like AIDS. Oh, that's good.
So those were our quotes for today. I hope you enjoy them.
There are many more.
Because for some of them, we still remember the context, but for some of them, they are absolutely out of context for even us when reading them, so it's great.
Okay, we'll read all those eventually.
Alright.
Creative writing.
Creative writing of the day.
It feels like we haven't done this in a while.
I know. But I guess we had a break, and then we took too long to do this one, so. Greenie.
For green? Okay, the green ones are... Oh, that's mine.
I'm all nervous about all the green ones I have left.
The green ones are all at the bottom.
You didn't grab the one that you saw before?
I was looking for this.
Oh.
I think it's me. Oh, okay. Wow, this is very relevant.
Yay.
It's...
Oh, cool.
I need my computer. Urgh.
All the leaves are brown.
I had a little footnote on that. Okay. I pulled... Her name is Mina Reyes Carter.
This is a fun one.
This is a fun one because it's got really a story behind it. Well,
you don't say.
I guess but this one's got like a story to tell.
Yeah.
Cool. Let me just start with the top. This is the Google Doc is called "Stupid Apocalypse Story Maybe," and then the first line is, "Meh, I don't know. This is me finally attempting that zombie story. The thing with the eyes, you know the one."
Notes to yourself are so fun. Yeah, you know the one.
You know the one. Okay, there's a lot of backstory to this that I'm gonna skip. But essentially, I had a dream way back in the day, like a couple years ago, that was like, I was running through the forest, and it was like, I knew it was some kind of like zombie apocalypse type deal, and then this little girl...
we were watching The Walking Dead at the time.
Something, yeah. This little girl ran up to me. She came running up to me, and she was like hugging me, and I was like hugging her, and then I had to like get her away from me, and I had to like look in her eyes to see if she was infected. And you could like, there's like black stuff in your eyes if you have the virus, and she didn't, so it was fine. But then we like went and did something. I don't remember anymore. But that was basically the inspiration for this. Also, inspiration for this was way back in the day, we there is this like character generator app thing where you like made customized characters.
That was over the summer.
Yeah. Yeah. And we said, how are we gonna say this? Because we made the most attractive people we could.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
That's where they started.
Wow.
That's where the two of them came from, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We
were just making tons of different characters with this app.
Like,
and it was
characters
really
from things that we know.
We were doing our own characters, but
like,
and we did ourselves like apocalypse versions of ourselves, and then you could do weird like fantasy creatures and stuff. Yep. And we were going crazy with it, and we were making our own characters too.
Like characters.
And we were like,
okay,
what
really
else can we do? So we ended up making these characters.
We made characters. We did like a boy and a girl. The like most like.
All the, like, best features.
The best, most attractive man and most attractive woman that we could make.
In each little genre.
So we, like, both made ours. And I'll put them up. This was your boy. This was your girl. Do you still have them?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
I have them all.
Here. And then here was my boy. And here was my girl. And I don't know what it was about my two, but they super inspired me. Just like I don't know. So I was like, I'm gonna finally do that zombie story that's been in my head forever, and I'll use them for some reason. So I didn't need to take a shower, but I got in the shower, and for like an hour I brainstormed. Because the shower's where you do your writing, if you didn't know.
You weren't aware. It's either that, or if I, like, really can't shower at the time for some reason, I'll just lie down wherever I am. I will lie down and, like, shut my eyes.
Very different setting from a shower.
Yeah, but those are my two places.
But, so I took a shower, and then I FaceTimed you, and I was like, let's do this.
Yep.
We gotta write a story. And we spent, I just wanted to introduce you to the concept, and I wanted you to help me make this make sense. And we spent the entire night. It was until like 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Writing this, essentially.
Oh, yeah.
You were helping me shape it.
And we were just creating the world, creating the concept, creating the characters.
Even though the sticky note technically says Mina, I'm going to tell you about the story. Yeah. And then I'll talk about Mina a little bit. And then, so the two main characters are Mina and Harrison.
Yeah.
It's Mina Reyes Carter and then Harrison Russo. And they're fun. Let me start with this. I'll talk about Harrison's also in the thing, so I'll talk about him another day. He's got a whole thing. He's annoying.
Yeah, story today.
But I'll talk about the story. So, just for background, Harrison is 26 and Mina is 19. Oh man, it's been a while since we did this. How do you do this? Alright, I've got, like, bullet points about her that I'll just read.
Okay, yeah.
She took a gap year after graduating because, she has a little brother and a mom and a stepdad. And, the dad is, like, a politician of some kind. He's, like, in a position of authority and stuff. And, he's not a very nice man. I don't want to use the word abusive, but he's basically abusive. But because he's a politician or whatever, like, they can't really come out and say anything about him being a bad person, because
you know,
they'll be breaking contracts or whatever. So she took a gap year after graduating from high school so she could, like, stay with her little brother and, like, protect him and stuff. She's a dancer. She wants to be a lawyer. She's, like, really spitfirey and, like, spunky, but she can also, like, be real serious when she has to. I've basically written none of this, by the way. I have just a lot of notes. But I kind of wrote the first scene. It's just, like, Mina really likes to, like, go to clubs and, like, go clubbing and dancing with her friends and stuff. And, it's, like, her friend's birthday, and they go to the club, and, her friend's, like, the worst. It's Kylie. It's Kylie's birthday.
Yeah, we came up with a bunch of terrible worst names. Girl names.
Yeah, we got, Kylie, Ellie, and Katie are, like...
Ellie?
Yeah. Well, there's Kylie's the bad one. She's, like, the gross, mean one. And then there's, like, generic 2 are Ellie and Katie. And then she has got a cool friend, Audrey. And so the 5 of them... 5? Go to a club because it's Kylie's birthday. Mina has... It's, like, takes place a little bit in the future from now. But she's got, like, a beeper that her and her brother, like, they both have a beeper. And if, like, their little brother's ever, like, he's scared at home or, like, in trouble or whatever, he'll use the beeper and she'll get a buzz on the beeper or whatever and she'll go home. And so they're at the club doing the thing and she gets a buzz on the beeper. And so she's like, I gotta go. And the terrible Kylie birthday friend is like, you always do this, you always leave, can't you just, like, celebrate my birthday with me, whatever. And Mina's quiet and, Mina's just, like, doesn't know how to respond, she's like, whatever. So, Mina, like, grabs a cab on the way home, because she just needs to get there quick. She, like, bursts into the apartment, and it's, like, really bad, and, like, her dad's being really terrible to her mom and stuff. And she, like, tries to break it up, and her dad's like, where have you been, and all this stuff. Because she's in, like, club clothes and makeup and stuff, and he's like, where were you? What were you doing? She, like, gets him all heated, trying to take attention away from the mom. They fight, dad leaves, whatever. Mina, like, makes sure her brother's okay and her mom. And so, like, the dad doesn't know that, obviously, that little brother has the beeper. And so he, like, just happens that she walks in whenever bad things are happening.
Weird.
Cut back to the bar. Kylie's, like, really drunk. And she, like, stumbles to the bar and she asks for another shot. And the bartender, like, looks at her and he's like, I think you've had enough to drink. And she's like, she freaks out. She's like, I'm a paying customer. You serve me. Like, I'm giving you money. All this stuff. And he's just like, you can barely stand up. And she's like, it's my birthday. Like, I deserve this. She's, like, starting to, like, make a scene. And so, just have deadpan. The bartender goes, fills a shot glass up with tap water and gives it to her. She turns and, like, calls out to the dance floor. She's like, hey, girls. And she, like, takes a shot of water. And she's like, wow. And she goes out to the dance floor. And he's like, this is... the girls cheer. She turns around, gives the bartender the finger, and then goes back to dancing with her friends. The bartender rolls his eyes and goes back to work and doesn't add that shot to her tab. Later that night, the bartender goes home to a very nice apartment. I don't want to talk about him yet, but Harrison, the other main character, is the bartender at that club. Unrelated, that's not important, but it's, I like to, nice. They can have a connection. Yeah. He's got a cat, he's a lonely boy, doesn't matter. I got just in parentheses, threat of bioterrorists, question mark, I don't know, help. So maybe that's the thing.
Some news, like, TV in the background.
Yeah, literally. So we cut back to Mina, and she's back at the club. Like, this is a different, let's spend, like, a couple weeks or whatever. That was just, like, set up. Yeah. It's just her and Audrey, like, the cool friend. And, practically as soon as they walk through the door, she gets 2 quick beeps on the beeper, which means it's, like, a really bad one. She gives her friend a look. They've been, like, planning this, because, like, every time they go out, they go with Kylie, and she's the worst. So, like, the 2 of them just wanted to go out and have fun, and they can't, because she got the thing. And, like, Audrey gets it, and she's like, it's okay, and she's like, I'm really sorry, and she's like, go. So, Mina runs out the door. She's trying to hail a cab, it doesn't happen, like, nobody's coming. The beeper beeps again, which, like, means it's, like, her brother's freaking out. So, she's trying to hail a cab, and she can't, and it's stressful, and, like, the music, and, so she just starts running. She starts running home. And, they don't live, like, too far away, so she can make it. The beeper's, like, beeping all the way home, and so she's freaking out. She makes it to the apartment in good time. She, like, doesn't hear yelling when she, like, walks up to the door, which is a bad sign. But she, like, bursts through the door, and she doesn't see or hear anyone, which is freaking her out. Suddenly, like, the little brother is, like, thrown into the room, and the dad's holding the beeper. So, that's, like, a bad. And then it just cut to, it just says, breaking news. in a feat of pure amazement, an amazingly complex group of bioterrorists have poisoned all of America's leaders with this crazy biodrug.
Oh
no! City leaders are dropping like flies. Be aware, stay indoors. We don't know how it spreads. Mina's dad's like freaking out on her about the beeper, giving like the pager to the brother.
Yeah.
But before they can even start to like hash out that argument, the TV says, "Be careful if you're a leader of any kind. You're the target. Hopefully they didn't get to you," or whatever. You know. And so he stops, and then his phone rings. And it's some kind of manager or something saying, "Uh-oh." That's like just doing the thing. The dad starts freaking out, and he tells everyone to pack. Like, just pack their... And the mom's like, "But the TV told everyone to stay inside," and he starts freaking out, and he's like, "We have to go." Just his dad punches the wall, and it dents and cracks really bad, shocking everyone, including himself. And he just says, "We have to go." So they go.
Time to leave.
So they go, they get in the car, they drive for a while. Dad's freaking out. They start passing cars on the highway, helicopters overhead, cars start crashing in front of them. The dad is, like, wicked paranoid. Like, he's just freaking out. And they get into, like, a little fender bender. And, "We have to go," Dad yells, before the other guy can even get out of the car. And the family's like, what's going on? And so he gets out, and he's, like, yelling at them to all get out of the car, and they do. He just says, he's like, "We gotta get out of here." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "They're after me." And then the other guy gets out of the car, and he's like, "Oh, man, sorry, dude, I didn't even see you there." And the dad pulls out a gun and shoots him. And the family's all screaming, and the mom's like, "Where did you get a gun?" And he's just like, "We have to go," and they run down the slope of the highway and into the woods.
I see it.
Yeah. It's just, I think something very similar to this happens in the Walking Dead game. And so this is what I think.
Well, I see, like, the beginning of The Walking Dead, too.
Yeah.
With just all the cars.
Yeah, yeah.
And that super, like, crazy highway that's just surrounded by woods and stuff.
Everyone's driving in this direction. There's nobody driving in that direction.
Yeah.
So the dad runs down the slope and into the woods, and they're like, "Let's just get back in the car. It's not totaled or anything. Let's just go." And he's like, he says, "The car's totaled. They're after me. We gotta go." And they're like, "It's barely even dented. What are we doing?" But so he starts freaking out. He's like, "We gotta go now." And so they're like, "Okay." And so they follow Dad into the woods, and like helicopters are still around. And so then 2 days go by in the woods. This is when it gets a little vague. 2 days go by. Dad somehow kills Mom because of like some kind of hallucination he was having, and Dad feels really bad about it, and the kids are all freaked. And then another day goes by, and then Dad dies. Another day goes by, and Dad comes back.
A whole day?
Yeah. That's the whole thing, because it's like, it varies on the person when they come back. It could be like days, it could be minutes.
Yeah.
Another day goes by, Dad comes back, Mina shoots him in the head with his gun that he got from somewhere. And, he's still, like, coming at them. And they're like, "What?" So she just grabs her brother and they run. 3 days go by before they find out that her little brother is sick. Turns out Dad infected little brother from, like, spitting on him while he was screaming or something. I don't know.
Oh.
4 days go by. Okay, well, you find out the little brother's sick, and then I just say, 4 days go by before I cut away, leaving reader to guess whether she killed him or if the disease took its course. Even I don't know. But you can guess what she did. Cut to Harrison. Things are happening with Harrison, whatever. I'll go over them later. Mina is alone for 2 weeks. She's sad, alone in the woods. She meets a man.
Yes.
She meets this man in the woods.
The man.
For lack of a better way of describing him, he's a mad scientist.
Yeah.
Basically all he is a plot device. He's a plot helper.
No shame in that.
He explains everything there is to know about these zombies and stuff. There's like not much. He doesn't explain too much, but it's more than he should know. It's more than like he should get. So she's like, "That's weird. Why does he know all that?" And she's like, "Was he like involved in the creation of the disease? Who knows?" He tells Mina that he's infected, and she freaks out. He tells her he has a cure.
Yay!
Wow! Sort of. He has these, like, syringes of clear liquid, like, a whole bag full of them. And, he injects one into his arm, and he turns, and he, like, throws up all this black goop, and he's good for the day.
Yeah. I like to start my morning off with a little, black goop.
But it's not a cure, he's just prolonging the inevitable. He's not, like, fixing himself. He's just, whatever he's injecting himself with makes him throw up whatever. I don't know.
But it's still running its course.
He does not have the means, nor is he smart enough to be able to come up with a cure. But maybe they can find someone who is. So, Mina's like, are you really gonna die once all those syringes are gone? And he's like, yup. He smiles and stabs himself with one and pukes. She's with the scientist for a month and a half. They study the creatures, like, capturing them and testing them and, like, seeing what makes them tick. They figure out how to kill them and how not to kill them. The doctor scientist dude is fearless, like, really fearless, and Mina's impressed. Like, he's cool. And she's his, like, little apprentice, and it's fun. They have a fun relationship. But also their relationship is really sad because he's infected, so she has to stay away from him at all times. So they, like, love each other from a distance.
You can
tell when I wrote this. It was over the summer.
50 years when this is a book that you've released to the public, and people are, maybe give it another 50 years after that, and people are, like, reading it in schools. No, when people, like, read it in schools, they're gonna be like, yeah, and this author, she wrote this during the 2020 quarantine.
The quarantine that we're still in.
The coronavirus quarantine of 2020 that we're still in.
100 years from now. They work together, he's a plot device to learn about the creatures, whatever. More about Harrison, he's alone and sad and losing his mind.
Oh.
Doesn't matter. I'll talk about Harrison eventually.
Another day.
Mina and the scientists are studying up a storm in the woods, and suddenly Mina's beeper goes off. It's been, like, months. Her brother's dead, or whatever, for all we know. And the beeper goes off. And, she tells the scientist that she's gotta go. I keep calling him the doc. She tells the doc that she's gotta go. It's her brother. It has to be. But his pager was left in the apartment because, like, that was the fight they were having when they had to leave. But she has to go. She apologizes. The doc apologizes too. He only has 3 syringes left. He didn't tell Mina. He wanted to finish their research first. That was, like, the thing that was important to him. Not, because they could have, like, realistically, they could have gone somewhere to find materials to make more, but he just wanted to finish his research.
So he only has 3, but he didn't tell her.
Yeah, so he was gonna die anyway. I mean, it's like mad. She's like, why didn't you tell me you were dying? Why didn't you tell me, like, you only had so much time left? And, because he didn't tell her because he knew she would, like, force them to go find the stuff, which would just take way too long and a waste of everything. He knew she would force them to go. He was right. He says that they're done. They did what they had to do. And he gives her his journal of information and the 3 syringes. And he tells her to go, take them, find someone who has the materials and the means to turn his silly 24-hour serum into a cure. She says, okay, just because the beeper won't stop beeping and she's freaking out. He says he doesn't want to come. He wants to die in the woods. Mina gives him one of the syringes and just says, no, live another day. I'll be back with my brother. And they go their separate ways. And Mina heads back towards the city to find her brother.
Bye, Doc.
Bye. Who knows what happened to him either. More about Harrison. In short, Harrison has been alone in his apartment for these many months, and he's just completely losing his mind. The poor thing. There are details, but someday. Blah, 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 time passes. Mina makes it into the city. This is all just setup stuff, but that's, like, all the details I have. I have nothing about the actual story,
that's
so that's
fine. That's fine.
She makes it into the city. She fights her way through the zombies in the city like a badass. The cool part of her working with the scientists for so long is that she's, like, allowed... I got myself through a stupid plot hole, and, like, she's allowed to be a...
learned how
because
to
she's learned how to do it.
Yeah.
She's not just suddenly a really cool warrior because no. She got time to practice and study and stuff. Yeah. The cool part. So the cool part of her working with the doc for so long is that she's allowed to be such with the zombies because she worked with them so much and she worked with them so much in a controlled setting.
Yeah.
And she's much more comfortable with them than the average person. And she has a lot of experience. She knows exactly what to do, how to kill them, and for a reason. So she fights her way through the hordes in the city and makes it to their apartment. She walks in with her beeper still going off. As she walks in, the TV's blaring, which is weird. She makes sure there are no zombies, calling her brother's name, looking everywhere for him, and he's not here.
Yeah.
She hears another beeper going off, and she goes and she finds his. But the message on both of them weren't sent to each other. And then she hears on the TV, and it just says, "This automated message will be sent to all devices telling you to please get out of the city, blah, 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 blah." So, like, it was just a generic
radio signal
thing sent. Because it's supposed to be a little bit in the future, so we're, like, a little more technologically advanced. So, like, they sent out a mass, like, wave that will just hit every device.
Yeah.
And Mina's, like, totally empty inside. She knew it wasn't him. Like, somewhere in her, she knew there was no hope. But she doesn't like snap, she doesn't start breaking things, she just kinda like drops to the ground, she like loses hope, and she's just kinda empty inside.
No.
Things are happening with Harrison. He's developed a drinking problem and a smoking problem.
As you would.
Yeah. Oh, well, no, he's always had a smoking problem. But his cigarettes run out, so he starts drinking. He's almost out of food. He's like, it's really sad. And so, like, back to Mina. She's, like, sitting in the empty apartment. She doesn't really know what to do next. And there was a knock at the door. That's right. No one broke in. Someone knocked on the door.
He's a polite boy.
Who's a polite boy? I wonder who it is.
Oh, it could be anyone. What a polite person.
Wow. What a polite zombie. Probably a zombie. She goes and she grabs a knife and she opens the door and it's Harrison. Who would have guessed? He doesn't look like diseased at all, so she like grabs his face. He's like, "Hello." You gotta like look in the bottom of their eyes to like see if there's goop or whatever. And so she's like grabbing him, she's looking at him and stuff, and he's like, "Hello." And he's not infected. He's not infected, they're talking. Zombies enter the building, you know. Mina gives Harrison like a crash course on how to kill them, like real quick, and they fight.
And how do you kill them?
I know, I thought I talked about that there. But essentially what her and the scientists discover is because most zombies and most things, because I try to be original.
I like this.
I try.
I like it.
Zombies and most things, you have to like shoot them in the head or in the heart to kill them or whatever. And so in mine, you have to shoot them in the head and the heart.
You gotta get
both to put them down. If you only do the brain, it will lose its... If you get them in the brain, it'll lose its senses. But it'll still be... So, like, it's blind and deaf and whatever, but it can still, like, come at you. If you just get it in the heart, it will lose strength and speed. So it'll, like, fall to the ground, but it'll still be, like, cognizant enough to try to get you. Mina gives Harrison a crash course on how to kill them, real quick. And, so, like, they fight, and they break out of the place together, and they bond. They escape, and it's great, and they're friends now. He says he has, like, a family lake. Harrison's loaded, like, the family's loaded. They've got, like, a family lake house a few hours away that, like, they can get to. It hasn't been used in years, and it's probably empty, so, like, good plan. For the first time ever, we have a plan. But they gotta go get his car from the garage. And they, like, go down, they're trying to get to his car garage thing, and they hear screaming. Like, human screaming. And, I say, they go and see the screaming because they're both chaotic lawfuls. And they see a girl surrounded, and they save her. And the girl ends up being the birthday friend, Kylie.
Boo.
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 She's with them for like an hour or something, and she f***s up bad and dies.
Cool.
And somehow in the process, the journal, the scientist's journal with all of his notes and stuff, gets destroyed or taken or lost or something. It's gone.
God.
That's a bill. That's
Kylie.
like, I say, gets the journal destroyed or taken or lost, which is a big bad. Deal with and explain that. So
Go on.
I'll do that someday, maybe. Harrison and Mina drive to cabin and bond on the ride. She gives him her brother's pager, which is like a big deal because it's her brother's and that's sensitive right now. And she like explains what it is and what it does and everything. I just have people in cabin ?
Yeah.
Mina has 2 syringes now because she gave one to the doc. They need to keep them. They can't lose that serum because that's the only thing they have for some scientists to test or whatever. Because we lost the journal. And then we're gonna like lose one by using it on a stranger or something. And it's gonna be it's gonna be dumb and we're gonna regret it. Now I just have ends with Harrison dying ?
Oh, why?
I think I'm gonna let him live, but I like this. It's him dying and Mina going to use the syringe on him, and he's like, no, save it to test on you, idiot. Don't use it on me. And she's like really wants to, and she decides not to, and so she like makes it to a settlement on her own, and like maybe there's hope for the future. It'll end with her like giving it to a scientist. It's very I Am Legend. It's kind of like that. Things happen in the middle there. You know, zombie
Of course,
story
it's always
things.
those middle bits.
So basically, that's the story. This is notes I got about the disease that, like, maybe our characters don't know. It's transferred like mono, like bodily fluids and stuff. So, like, it transfers from, like, bodily fluids, like blood and spit and stuff, like mono. It gets into your system and you start to get really strong, first of all. So, like, the dad getting it is also a plot device, because he, like, punches the wall first and he's, like, really strong. And then you get really, really paranoid. And you get, like, crazy hallucinations and stuff. And that was the dad being like, they're gonna get me. They're like, they're not gonna get you. There's no one after you.
The car is totaled.
Yeah. And they're like, nope. It gets worse and worse, like hallucinations and paranoia and stuff, until your heart rate is just so fast that you have a seizure and die. Weaker bodies just die. They'll just don't come back. And then stronger bodies will keep going and be really strong and fast zombies. So, like, the stronger you are while you were alive equals stronger zombie.
I hate the thought of...
Like a bodybuilder zombie coming at you. They're fast and stuff. The black stuff in the bottom of your eyes is how you tell early on. You got to take out the heart and the brain. Blah, blah, blah. So this is when it gets a little funky.
Yeah.
The zombies want to spread the disease. They don't want to, like, eat you like normal zombies. They don't want to, like, eat your brains or whatever. They have the want to spread.
And, like, grow in numbers.
Yep. And so that symptom appears before death. Like, a lot of the symptoms that they have as zombies happen to you before you die. People get, like, really touchy and, like, touchy-feely, affectionate before they die. So people need to start worrying about themselves and other people. So if you're, like, at some point we're gonna end up at a settlement or something, and so if you start to, like, develop a really random crush on someone, you gotta be like, do I actually have a crush on this person or am I dying?
Yeah.
It's also really sad because, oh well, that's a aside, but it's also really sad because it's impossible for people to kill themselves because they have to get the heart and the head.
Oh. Yeah.
So, like,
yeah, you don't think
they can try either, but they'll turn either way, and they'll be hindered in one way or the other, but oops, that's sad.
Yeah, you have to have someone assisting.
Yeah. Thanks.
Ugh.
Yeah. That's it.
And
that's all I got. The doc's name is...
Oh, yeah. What's his name?
Doc Eugene Q. Habit.
Yes.
The Q stands for question mark.
Oh, man.
So he's Doc Habit. I have more things.
What's his first name?
Eugene.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the Q is his middle name.
Eugene Q. Habit.
Yeah.
I have a lot more to say about Harrison's side of the story, so I'll do that eventually.
Yeah.
I have more in my head than I have written down, which I didn't know.
It happens.
So I gotta write all that down. But I got some story things in the brain. There's 17 pages of notes. So...
There can always be more notes, though. But that's the story. And I think it does a good job of being having those apocalypse zombie vibes, but still being original and unique.
Because it's pretty hard to write an original zombie story.
They're
all the same
They're all
story.
going to be the same story. But
So I tried.
But yeah, no. You did what you could. I like it.
The story happens between when they get to the cabin and Harrison may be dying. Then the story will happen in between there.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna let him live. I don't shy away from killing main characters because that's fun. But I want Harrison to live. I want him to live.
He deserves a good life. We were trying to come up with a name, not a name, but different things that people call the zombies.
Oh, yeah,
you do.
Yep, like walkers.
Yeah. That's in my notes.
But also, I hate zombie stories where zombie movies don't exist, because that's dumb. So, The Walking Dead might exist in this universe, and they can just say, oh yeah, they're zombies.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be fine.
I know.
That'd be very fine.
Mm-hmm. So with that... Hello? What happened? Are you okay?
What? Was there one still
Maybe,
going?
it didn't look like.
There wasn't.
It's the ghost of Eugene Q. Habit saying, subscribe. Subscribe to the channel.